Hello everyone, and this is my review for WWE Monday Night Raw on April 1st, 2013. And trust me, in this one, these are going to be completely my honest opinions. I'm not going to be sarcastic. This is no April Fool's joke on my end. So, getting on to it, things that I felt like were a little bit disappointing from Raw this week, which, in all honesty, for one of the first times ever in most recent memories, I felt this Monday Night Raw was actually extremely good, and it's really hard to say that sometimes before going into the week before WrestleMania, because a lot of those Raws actually turn out to be disappointing and really don't do much of anything going into WrestleMania. They're kind of just there. So there were a little bit of a disappointment area, mainly around and it's probably just because I'm disappointed that this match is actually happening. The Chris Jericho Fandango storyline is kind of more the same deal with Fandango attacking Chris Jericho after he has a match. Now, albeit for the match with Chris Jericho and Antonio Cesaro, great match between them. It was a fun, entertaining match, but, building on that storyline, that was the main disappointment there. There wasn't really much to it. It was basically the same thing that you've been seeing over the past few weeks. So nothing really much there. But for the most part, that was my only real disappointment. I really liked where they went with Kane and Daniel Bryan and Big E Langston and Dolph Ziggler match going into WrestleMania. Having Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler have a match, first of all, great idea, because those two could put on a really good match, fun, entertaining match here as well. Of course, having Dolph Ziggler go over on Daniel Bryan here, it shows them into a momentum side going into the tag team title match, and having them actually having Big E Langston and Dolph Ziggler look dominant over both Daniel Bryan and Kane was a good idea going into WrestleMania, because they really haven't done much build-up. No one had shown momentum or dominance in any way, shape, or form, and you saw that this week, and that was definitely a good idea going in there. It gives a little bit more emphasis for the match going into WrestleMania. Good to see that they actually went there in that way, shape, or form. The next area I'll talk about, which is the 8-man tag, not the 8-man tag, the 8-person tag, actually. Sorry for the mess up there. You have I think they're calling them Tons of Funk now. They're calling Tensai Sweet Tea and Brutus Clay, and then the Funkadactyls versus the Rhodes Scholars, Cody Rhodes and Damian Sandow, and the Bella Twins. And honestly, I think it's kind of just there for the main aspect of getting all of them onto the show in some way, shape, or form. And all honesty, they did a little bit more build with it this week with having the Bella Twins go up against the Funkadactyls. The match itself was it was okay, especially for a Divas match, especially how they've been doing Divas matches as of late. So you got a little bit of a build there. Nothing really much though. I think they're making this match mainly to try to get those 8 people onto the actual WrestleMania show itself. So it is what it is in that sense. Another little area that is somewhat disappointing but should be a fun match, and I like the way that they were building around it, was The Miz and Wade Barrett for the Intercontinental title. They made the announcement this week that it's going to be on the pre-show. In all honesty, that's somewhat of a disappointment that it's not going to be on the main show. But I liked how Miz put over the fact that there's the 2 most important matches on the show is the first match of the show, which is on the pre-show, and the last match of the show, which is the main event of the show. So I liked how he put over the fact that he's going to be the first match. He's going to kick off the show, and they're going to do it in this fun and awesome way. The match with Wade Barrett and Zack Ryder itself was actually really good. I liked Miz on commentary in this one, talking about how the best way of beating Wade Barrett is getting into his head, and seeing how Wade Barrett was interacting mostly with Miz and was distracted away from Zack Ryder, and actually caused him at times to almost lose the match, was actually a nice little tidbit to it and leading into the pre-show match at WrestleMania. So it's disappointing that it's going to be on the pre-show and not the main show, but they did what they could to build it into something really important for the pre-show and making people want to watch the pre-show in that way. And it actually came off quite good in my mind. Now I'm going to pretty much go into where the 4 main events of the show. I'm going to talk first about the Brock Lesnar Triple H match, which, of course, this week they introduced Shawn Michaels into the storyline, talking about, he was worried about Triple H, all this, taking this kind of match, because, when he was in that situation, him and Undertaker, they respected each other, where with Triple H and Brock, they don't respect each other. He just wants to hurt people, all that sense. In all honesty, it was a decent promo, but it really didn't do too much for me. It introduced that Shawn Michaels is going to be in Triple H's corner, and that they were thinking about doing that from the get-go, and actually adding more people like Stephanie and the New Age Outlaws and whatnot in that sense into Triple H's corner going into WrestleMania. And I like the aspect that Shawn's going to be in Triple H's corner, because it's always fun to see Shawn Michaels on the show in that sense. But the promo, it really didn't do much for the match for me in that sense. It was good. It wasn't necessarily entertaining. It got the point across, but it wasn't all that. It really wasn't all that meaningful to the match itself. And then, of course, you just had the stare down with Brock Lesnar, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels there at the end. And yeah, that's what it was for that. The next one I'm going to actually talk about is, believe it or not, which will more likely be the main event of the show, the John Cena and Rock feud, which basically the two of them came out this week and just gave impassioned speeches about the importance of winning the match at WrestleMania, and you got that feeling from both of them. They both did a really good job in their promos leading into their matches at WrestleMania, giving the reasons why they need to win this match, why they're gonna win this match. And I definitely liked where both the promos were. I like the aspect that they were more serious this year about the actual promo usage for the Rock and Cena. The Rock and Cena feud and the match itself versus having the more jokingly side that they had with the Rock concert and Cena rapping last year. This year's feud, I felt, it came off as if it really did mean something to both of them, where you didn't get that full feel last year, even though you had the year build-up going into it. So it was good to see that they kept that route, and they definitely went, and they both did a really good job with their promos this week. And now I'm going to talk, the last two matches I'm going to talk about are what I feel are the two best storylines going into the actual pay-per-view itself. First of all, Jack Swagger and Alberto Del Rio. In general, I always tend to like the feuds that deal with personal issues a little bit more, because it generally, gives the aspect of a true reaction from the fans. You can feel like with Jack Swagger and Alberto Del Rio's match. With Jack Swagger, you could tell that the fans, they don't like Jack Swagger. They're getting that sense of, he believes what he actually believes in. And honestly, they did a really good job with the promos in general with Jack Swagger the entire time. This week's was actually really good as well. You don't have to believe or like what they actually said in their promo. If you look at it at the storyline, they delivered it well, and it was done good. So the promo itself was. With the White House in the background and them talking, the typical talk that they've been doing most of the time. It came off as a resonant, you don't like this guy type feel, and it was just really well done with the promo with Jack Swagger, and of course the rebuttal by Alberto Del Rio as well, just really really well done. And then, of course, you had the quote-unquote match with Alberto Del Rio and Zeb Colter, which you figured wasn't going to be a match in any way, shape, or form. It was basically this week, like over the last couple weeks, Alberto Del Rio has had the upper hand. He's gained the upper hand. Sorry about that. Little bit caught in my throat there. So, but Alberto Del Rio had the upper hand. And this week, and going into WrestleMania, they decided to switch it around and have Jack Swagger have the upper hand. While Alberto Del Rio was going after Zeb Colter in the ring while they're trying to have the match, of course you have Jack Swagger on the outside, going after Ricardo Rodriguez, that decided to stay out there even though Alberto Del Rio told him to stay in the back type deal. So it kind of got Alberto Del Rio into a bad situation, and of course led to the beatdown and the momentum change going into WrestleMania, going into Jack Swagger's favor over Alberto Del Rio's. They've done a great job making Jack Swagger a great heel in this, and they've also done a great job making Alberto Del Rio a great face for this match, and it should be a fun match to watch on WrestleMania. And I'll do a prediction show later in the week, but my firm belief at this point is still that they are going to keep the title on Alberto Del Rio, at least him winning this match, and then more than likely they'll have like Dolph Ziggler attempt to cash in Money in the Bank or something like that, because they've never done something like something in the sense of the Money in the Bank being cashed in at WrestleMania. No one's done it yet, so this might be the year that they do that. But we'll see where they actually go with it on the actual show itself. And the last bit I'm going to talk about was the whole CM Punk Undertaker feud, and you had CM Punk's initial promo in the back talking about he'll do anything to win. It doesn't matter. He'll do anything. It doesn't matter what it takes to get the win over Undertaker, whether it's disqualification, pin, submission. He's trying to get in the Undertaker's head to do sorry. But he's trying to get in the Undertaker's head to keep his mind off the actual prize, which is keeping the streak. Sorry, I've actually had a cough for the past few days. And the actual promo itself for The Undertaker at the end of the show, where he was talking about how almost in the sense that he didn't care about the streak anymore. He just wants to beat the living daylights out of CM Punk, even using the line, it's like, yeah, you may beat me, but you won't live to tell about it type deal. So I liked where they were going with that. And then having the Druids come out, which is always a symbol of The Undertaker. And of course you have Undertaker actually looking like, okay, what's going on type moment. And then he starts attacking the Druids, which trying to find CM Punk, knowing he's in there. And then eventually CM Punk does appear as one of the Druids and attacks him, starts beating him down with the urn. And like I said, when it comes towards personal issues, I tend to think that they are the best feuds because they give the most honest reactions from the fans, the genuine reactions of either dislike or like. And I know the WWE in this sense, they don't want to disrespect what happened with Paul Bearer. Earlier this month with him passing away, rest in peace to Paul Bearer in that sense. But the way that they've used this feud, using the urn in every way, shape, or form, it made me feel like they were going to use the urn regardless of what happened in real life anyway. And the symbolism, and then of course they use the symbolization afterwards of CM Punk opening the urn and then pouring out the ashes over the Undertaker. If you get that symbolization, it's like CM Punk is doing this just to get in the Undertaker's head. He doesn't care type deal. And only CM Punk and Undertaker could have probably pulled this one off. And because you got CM Punk playing this great heel, he's disrespecting the memory of Paul Bearer. He's disrespecting the Undertaker going into the match of WrestleMania, and he's doing it just to get in Undertaker's head to try to beat the streak in any way, shape, or form. And it just came off really well in my mind in that sense of the storyline. And all in all, like I said, there was very few times going into WrestleMania that I've actually liked Monday Night Raw or the SmackDown going into it. And this time around, I really did like the Monday Night Raw. It came off really good outside of the few little disappointing areas or just okay areas in my mind. Most of the show came off really well. I mean, I even liked how they used Santino to, not use the no, because Mark Henry and Ryback had the no contact clause, and they used Santino for Ryback to attack Mark Henry with. That was actually kind of entertaining and fun to watch in that sense as well. But their main storylines, outside of the Brock Lesnar Triple H feud, where yes, it was entertaining, it was meaning, it just didn't really have that meaning to the match in my mind. But the other three, like main event matches, it really came together as a culmination going into WrestleMania, and it came off really well in my mind. And that's just my own personal opinion about that. So I'm going to end it there, and this is my review for Monday Night Raw this week. I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you enjoy WrestleMania as well.